there's a delay, I think we'll be fine. So, Zustand, I haven't checked it before. I mean, it looked pretty cool. I mean, if you look at the README, it just feels a bit different. What I didn't really like with Redux is all the boilerplate, and I think that's very common. Maybe that's even the reason why lots of libraries appeared after that, because you have to create actions, reducers, and all that. I think this one, at least when you look at the README, you see it looks much simpler. So what we'll start by doing is just installing the library. So open terminal. For anyone who's wondering what I'm using right now, it's CodeSpace. So GitHub CodeSpace is really great because you don't have to run Visual Studio on your own laptop. You can just open a CodeSpace on GitHub, and it gives you this whole VS Code experience right in your browser. It's a bit like cloud gaming, but for code. So here I'm in my project, and I'll just install. Oh, that's not good. I'll install Zustand. It's a weird word, isn't it? Zustand. I think someone told me it means state in German. So for some reason they went for that. Hi from Peru. Whoa, Peru. So Bolivia, Peru, that's a lot of different places. From the Bahamas? Whoa. Guys, you're making me travel right now. It's really, it's crazy. So let's install Zustand. Um, let's see. So for the code, I'm just using React Native Web. So if I open up this side, you can see it running here. Will you upload this live session later as a video? Yes. I mean, this is really just a test for us to see, how is everything going. Again, the live stream, I didn't say it before. I really want to have this kind of, sessions to talk with you guys, because usually I make a video, you watch it maybe the day after, maybe you comment, maybe you don't do anything, but there's this connection between you and me, and I used to be a teacher, and so when I'm going on YouTube, I wish I could have this different relationship with people. Just so I make something, you say something, just there's some interaction. And also, if there's any question, we can really jump into this straight away. Hello from Palestine, from Turkey. Wow, we're really traveling a lot, aren't we? Okay, so I installed the library here. It's a bit messy. I'll just close this one, and I will rerun React Native Web. Oh, why it's not working? Missing. Oh, okay. I think because I added a library. Oh, I use npm instead of yarn. That's the reason why. Okay, so I'll just reinstall all the libraries for this project, and I will rerun everything right after that. So let's keep looking at this, how it looks like. Is anyone using Zustand in production already? Or has anyone even have experience with it? Oh, okay. Jury, I've also used Zustand, but there's a guy that released a chat that is 20 times faster. Oh, even React Native is using it. What is it, Jury? I mean, this seems pretty interesting. What is the starter template of app? I'm not using any template. I just did expo in it with the video. Okay, so let's see. We'll create a store. I think that's the first step here. We'll keep it everything in one file, because just so you know, we see the part that does the store, we see the code, everything's just one file for now. Let's see. Oh, you're using it in production, Anas. Oh, okay. So I import this. I can close this for now. Just see if that works actually. Let me refresh this part. Okay, hello YouTube, perfect. So we have our store here. So let me look at the API. So we create, and then we pass it a callback. Okay. The syntax is a bit different, really. Bears, increased population. Okay, so to me, this looks very much like Recoil in a way. I don't know if anyone here has used Recoil, but that kind of looks the same. Even WeChat is doing it. Oh, guys, what is that? I've heard of it. I'm just a little worried about the maturity of it. Right. Yeah, same. This is why I'm doing this. I wanted to give it a try because I really don't know how good it is. It looks to be working so far, so let's see. Redux. Yeah, I think Redux is just everybody's using Redux most of the time at least. Thumbs up, I love your videos. And Nikita, I've subscribed for since months. Thanks a lot. I mean, I did this for people, so I'm glad when it's helpful. Okay, so we have this uStore. Let's jump back to this. Bind your components, and that's it. So there's no. Okay, so that's a big difference. We don't have a a provider or anything. Um, okay, let's give it a shot. I just copied this so I can remember the syntax. Um, I mean, when you see my videos, everything's planned, so I don't forget anything, but here I have no clue what I'm doing. So let's try const bears. Okay, we'll retype that. UStore. So UStore comes from here. It's really a weird syntax. And we get the state here, and we just do state.bears. Okay. So basically when we do state, I guess we get all of this. And probably for the actions, we would do state the increased population. That's my guess. So let's see, hello YouTube, and we give a few bears. So that should show 0, right? Okay, let's see for the actions, increased population. Okay. This channel is gonna grow to 100K, just reserving my spot. Man, I really wish it will, but honestly, I think on YouTube, I mean, we can talk. I don't know if it's fine if we talk about other things than just coding, but I feel like on YouTube, especially when you're in a niche like that, it's very hard to get people to see you. And you can make great content, you can do bad content. What matters is YouTube going to recommend your content to the right people? And if is there someone out there sharing your content, all that kind of thing. It's really kind of hard of out of control when you're making all this. So anyways, let's go back to control. I guess, okay, I just tried this one. So we're going to import a button from React Native and just add a button below this one. All it does is just unpress, unclick. That's wrong. A title, maybe increase population. And so that increased population will do just like what we did here, and we'll get it from the store. All right, increase population, and then we can call it here. Let's refresh this part. All right, auto refresh, increase population. Okay, that's a very simple, very simple example, but it seems to be working. Um, so far, I like the syntax. It's interesting because then you can take this out from your component and then maybe do use increase population. And if you change your state management library, then you can just change your hooks. I mean, you could have something like const use increase population that equals to use store, etc. And then in your component, just do const increase population, use increase population, and then makes everything clean. But really, when I compare the APIs, I don't really see what's the point. Maybe I'm missing something. What do you guys think about the API so far? Yeah, I started out React Native because of William, and I discovered your channel like 3 weeks ago. Yeah, William is a big guy on YouTube. That's I think is the biggest for React Native. Yeah, I think is the biggest. And even him, what we were talking about earlier, he has, I don't know, is it more than 60,000, and you think that's the biggest. And when you compare it with maybe Flutter channels and all that, you see there's really a lot of channels with at least more than 100. So I don't know if it's just because of William or if it doesn't grow his channel enough, or if it's React Native as a whole. Very interesting. I haven't seen this. Oh, Simon, you're here. Yeah, I haven't tried it. It's just someone who recommended it to me. Oh, so that's interesting. Why is Zustand over React Redux? Simple and unopinionated. Okay, I don't see why that's different. Makes hooks. I mean, it's different in a sense you don't have actions and reduces, that's for sure. Makes hooks the primary means of consuming state. That's true. Doesn't wrap your app in context providers. Actually, this one is interesting. I wonder why Redux couldn't do something similar because it's actually, I mean, it's just a provider you have to put at the root of your app, so it's not that different. Can inform components transit. Oh, what is that? Transient updates. Have you guys ever heard of this? Can you access this store from another page component? Yes, I guess. I guess what you could do is just declare this from a different file. So let's just go and create one. I just created a store.js. I'm not using TypeScript because I don't know who's watching. Let's go with the simplest thing. Okay, so let's say comes to your store, and maybe we just export this. All right, and then I guess if you just remove that, oh, I have to put this on the other page. Otherwise, we're gonna get an error. And here I can just do import use store. Oh, it's gonna be a default import, so we don't need the brackets from the store file. So I guess this should work just the same. Man, your channel is amazing. It's definitely the best one about React Native that I know. You explain very well, do amazing tutorials and post videos almost every week. I really try to do my best. Sometimes, to be honest, I don't know what people want to see. I like a lot of different things about React Native. You know, I, I have so many different topics I want to talk about. But what I see on the channel is whenever I publish something about animations, gosh, I mean, the numbers are really high and everybody just keeps sharing the videos and all that. And so I'm in this period of time where I want to grow the channel because you want more people to discover what you do, but at the same time you want to be doing things you like. And it's not that I don't like animations, but you can't just be doing the same thing over and over. So yeah, but I appreciate you like the channel. I mean, I really put all myself into this channel, really. So Justin, okay, so we had this example where the store was in a different file, and I guess it works just the same, right? So again, it just goes back to what I was talking about earlier. It it's very easy to just create a file with a lot of hooks, and then you just import them and use them right into your components. But again, it's really hard for me to understand what's really great about this. So here the set tran I don't know how to pronounce that correctly. Transient updates for often occurring state changes. The subscribe function allows components to bind to the state portion without forcing re-renders on changes. So let's say we have this, has scratches set to 0, fetch initial state user. Okay, okay. I mean, if that's a good side of it, when I look at this code, I don't find it really easy to understand. I mean, even let's say it works better than something else. Would you really want to write something like that? I don't know. Stick of reducers and changing nested state. Reducing this. Okay. Okay. Well, again, I don't see this being really special. I don't know if you had a topic on this, but React Native CLI versus Expo. Use cases for both pros and cons, etc. I'm really a big favor of Expo personally because I just hate when everything's complex, but that's just my take. Um, I mean, you can probably find this online, probably. I guess now, one talking about testing in React Native. Oh, testing would be a good topic, you're right. Middleware, okay. Okay, I just want to try something, actually. So what I'll do is to create, I just put everything at the root. Please don't mind it. I create a message component, and this component will just be, something very simple. Um, hold on. Up. It's going to be a view, and the view will just, maybe just return a message inside a text. So we're going to have some props here. Let me export message. And here we're going to return a view. Let's not style anything. And we put a text inside it. And then here we show the message. So this message component will get a message property. Or even we could, okay, I have so many ideas at the same time. Let's keep it simple for now. And maybe here we add some padding. All right. So in the app right now, we don't have any data. So let's create just something simple, okay? Messages, and we're going to have a function that creates all these messages. So let's create another file. Call this utils. Okay, and this will be function generate messages. What we want is maybe to create a list of messages. So maybe we say a limit. Maybe by default it's going to be 20 messages. I just want to return, a list of messages, and then inside my app I can return all the messages. And so then I want to use Zustand to keep track of all my messages and see how that works. I'm just going to look a bit at your chat. I don't know, I keep getting errors when using Redux and I can't always get everything I want to work, but this seems more easy. If you think this way, really you should give a look at Recoil. I really love Recoil. It's very simple as well, and it has this Redux feeling without all the extra work. Export for the win, but the bundle size are huge. Actually, about this, there's something new. I mean, you've probably seen it. It's called EAS, Expo. What's the A for? I forgot. But basically, it's new services provided by Expo. And the idea is whenever you're going to send a build, it will just, tree shake your code and see what, how do you say, what library you're using and what you're not using. So then it will just, import the libraries you need and not all the ones that you used to add to your bundle in the end. There's, I think they published a new article about this. I was talking with Brent the other day, and Brent, if you don't know him, is working at Expo. He was the first engineer working there, and they published a new article about the new services and how all this is going to work. But yeah, basically, it's going to make your app size much, much smaller. I think they said it's 10 times smaller, so that's really a big difference. What do you suggest me? I want to make a video about React Native in Spanish. What do I suggest you? I mean, I'm nobody. Well, just talk about whatever you want to talk about. I just go back to the code real quick and then, just go back and forth with the chat. Okay, so we're going to have an empty list of messages, and in the end, we want to return all these messages. And in between, let's say, okay, our default message will be lorem ipsum. I forgot what comes next. Okay, let's add this. I forgot what comes next. And here we're just going to say let I 0. And as long as I is lower than limit, so it's going to be 20, we could increase all this later. We're going to push a new message, which will be just default message. Again, I'm just creating this function so we get a quick function to generate a list of messages. So all the messages obviously will be the same, as you can guess. All right, so we have generate messages, but I don't have the function yet. So we'll take this from the utils file. I don't know. Oh yeah, I exported this. I kind of forgot already. So generate messages. Let's just start with 5 messages and see. Oh, actually, I'm stupid. I don't have to do this here. I have to do it inside the store. So what I want is to, I just keep what's below to remember how this works, but I want a list of messages. So let's just do generate messages, and we'll create 10 messages here. I don't think it imported it, so, oh, I'll do this right here. Ooh, that's ugly. From the utils file. Perfect. So this should generate 10 messages, and we're going to clean up this a little bit. So really the idea is that we should get all the messages here. So let's clean this also. I can remove that. Let's just do some cleaning. Right? And because we have a container style, we should change this a little bit. Otherwise, it's going to be all centered. So let's just remove that. All right, and if I keep that bare, it's not going to work. So just for anyone who's been joining, basically the state we get here is what we have defined here. So state will be this whole object. So we want the messages. So let's do state.messages. I'm sure this would be much simpler with TypeScript. We would get suggestions, but for the sake of simplicity, we'll just keep it simple. Sake of simplicity, let's keep it simple, yeah. Let's import the message, okay? And if you remember, message takes a property called message. That's a bit redundant. Let's do something different. It's going to be cleaner. Let's do props.children instead. So then here we can just do message and pass the message inside. It's just easier to read, isn't it? And as always, because we have a map, we need to pass a key. So, okay, it's going to be bad. Don't do this at home, but we're going to do this for now. Okay. So if I now refresh, I should have, okay, I have these 10 messages. Perfect. So what we could do, this is really just an idea. We could do just a simple chat to see all of this works. I'll give a, a look at the chat. Wow, so many of you are commenting. Thank you so much, really. I don't know if I did something wrong. Oh yeah, okay, that was before. When will you show us your face? Huh, that's a good question. Ask yourself, why do you want to know? And if you look online, if you look up my name, you can actually see how I look like. But, you know, to me, there's not really a point of showing myself. People should care about the content, not the person. Dollar Citamet. Oh, thank you. Okay, I mean, I'll change this right away. Thank you. Dollar Citamet. That's really something, some of us remember, some of us forget. Hello from Turkey. The videos on channel are very good. Understanding animations was very easy with these videos. Thank you. I appreciate it. I have a suggestion. Have you tried the Redux Toolkit? You're right. This is something a friend of mine shared with me. And yes, it looks much simpler. And when I realized there was a toolkit for Redux, so for anyone who doesn't know, let's check this out. Toolkit. When I realized there's something like that, um, I was really wondering, why is everyone starting their own library? Because this makes Redux much simpler. So let's just quickly look at the code if you just don't know what it is. Basically, just see, as you can see, it's a lot of APIs you can use, and it makes everything much simpler when you start using Redux. I just want to see a simple code so that it really speaks for itself. Um, so see, instead, usually, when you do this in plain Redux, you would have big reducers files, and here, it has these ND things like configure store. I think it has different things. So you just put everything in one place. You don't have to create actions and all that. So see, this is maybe similar to what I used to say earlier. Like when you look at this, you kind of wonder, what's the point of Zustand? What's the point of Recoil? Because this seems to be working pretty well. to me, the big difference obviously is in the API, and that is very important if you like something else. So yeah, I agree with you. Um, Redux Toolkit is interesting, but for some reason, JavaScript developers love to reinvent the wheel with a better looking README file, maybe. That's probably the reason. It has made Redux very simple to build since it uses Imer. Oh yeah, it has become quite easy to write a reducer. From what I've looked in the README, they mentioned Imer as well. Yeah. So again, yeah, nothing fancy. I've seen a lot of people struggle with Redux and don't even know about the Redux Toolkit. You can make a video about the Redux Toolkit. It'll be good with your expression. Thank you. Quick question, actually. Do you think it's okay if on the channel you see videos about React? I mean, what I'm doing here today is about React, I know, but I just thought, okay, it's a live stream. People can just come and go if they don't like, which all of you are kind of doing at the moment. Just keeps come and go. Um, I don't know if it's okay for me to do React videos. Would it be? Just, let me know if that's something you'd like to see. Will this code be available in Git? Man, I'm really not doing anything fancy. I think the best way is just to look at the README and try it yourself. This is no rocket science, really. It's not like all the big animations I usually do. Oh, lyrics channel, because it's Turkish, then it's just talking to the other guy. Okay. Can we use Zustand on React also? Yes, obviously. It works on React. Right here, it's running on React Native Web. So basically, it's running on React. Hey, don't. Wait, what was it about React UI Kit? I kind of lost track. Are you French? Yes, I am. Maybe you can try React Query and Context. React Query is pretty good, actually. Has a really good API. Maybe a video about WordMonDB would be interesting. It's very popular, but there is almost no content about it on YouTube. Really? That's odd. I thought it was. Plain React instead of React Native? What do you mean? Do you mean, yeah, what do you mean? I continue because now there's kind of a break in the messages. It was about showing your face. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, okay, on a personal note, I really love Daft Punk. I really, really love Daft Punk. If you've watched the last video, no, it's not the last one actually, but the one where I do this big animation project, it is only Daft Punk songs, and because I really like their work, and I really also like that their music isn't just about music. When you listen to Daft Punk, if you look at the videos, it just brings you somewhere. And I'm not doing a Daft Punk for React Native, of course not. Um, but what I like is when you really focus on someone's work and you totally forget about who's behind it. Because in the end, at least for me, this is what matters. That you see the content, not who's doing it. Would love to see more web React project as well. Okay, just if that's something that many people want to see, just let me know. And I just don't want people who subscribe for React Native content feel kind of sad because it goes more on React projects. But I also feel that probably everyone who's using React Native is probably already using React, so maybe. Let's get back to this. So we have a list of message, and what we could do is just to have actually the background color is very useless here. We can add another view at the bottom, and the idea is to have maybe a chat bar, just an input or something. So here it would be great to have another view. This one will be flex one because we want it to take all the space. And the one at the bottom will just be for the text input. So maybe let's keep it kind of small, maybe 100 pixels with a simple background color. We'll set it to red just so we see if the layout is correct. I think I need to refresh this. Okay, it's kind of big, isn't it? 80 pixels. Here we have all the messages. I'll go back to the store and create a lot more of messages. Let's go with maybe 70. And here, instead of having a view, add a scroll view. So let's just replace this here, because see, otherwise you have this big thing, which is not what we want. Okay. So let's see if that works. Oh, it doesn't. I wonder if it's not because of, how do you say? I wonder if it's not because of React Native, React Native Web. Could it be? Everyone on my channel asked to talk and showing myself, so I understand you not showing yourself. Yeah. Totally agree. When you asked if we wanted React Native is channel. Okay, Martin, sorry, I misunderstood. Yes, so basically the question is, would you like to see plain React? So that wouldn't be React Native Web. You can create a poll in the community section. Actually, I think that as long as you don't have 1,000 subscribers, you can't. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't think I have access to it. Maybe you can show how React Native has web support, coding in React Native and rendering the web version. Yes, and actually just now what I tried doesn't work. So that's a good showcase of React Native web. Okay, I'm being really mean. I mean, I wonder why. Maybe it's because I didn't set a fixed height. Let's just go with something like 200 and see if that. Okay. What? Okay, so if you set 200s, it works. That's the beauty of coding, when you have no clue why it's working. Okay, so now what we should do, because we have a long list of messages, is by default, when we get messages or if that updates, we should just scroll all down. Okay, so I also changed this a little bit just so it looks a bit better. Background color, EEE is a light gray, and let's add some border radius, maybe some 8, and a margin bottom, just so you know it's each message is not on top of each other. There's a little space. All right. Maybe I'll even add margin on sides, so we get something here. Container needs display flex. Yes, actually by default in React Native Web, when you have a view or anything that is close to a view, it sets the whole view to be using flex box. That's the difference between a view and a div, I guess. So again, what I said earlier is that whenever we have messages that is updated, we should scroll all the way down. Okay, so this means that here we have dependencies with the messages, and we need to get a reference to the scroll view. So let's get it from here. Scroll view ref. Oh, misspelled this. Scroll view ref. Misspelled it again. And we're going to use UseRef to get this here. And what we want to do is, so whenever messages changes, takes this reference, current, and I kind of forgot, is it scroll to end? Scroll to, or there's something else, I think. Let's just look this up. Okay, so scroll view. I see you guys are sending messages. Thanks so much for being reactive. At first, I was even thinking nobody would show up, so I'm just so glad there's people out there. So let's see, scroll. Maybe it's at the very bottom. Uh-oh, that's not what I'm doing. Not what I want. Scroll to. I think there's scroll to end. Right. That's what I want. Okay. So now if I refresh, Uh-oh, use effect. Oh yeah. If I don't import this, of course, it's not going to work. I'll save that again. All right, see, so now it just automatically scrolls all the way down. And the idea is that whenever we're going to, update messages, then it will automatically call this again. So if we add a message, we don't have to manually scroll, it will just do it on its own. So let's see how we can have now an input here. So maybe let's just create, another component. So let's just call it chat input. Save that. And again, just let's keep everything simple. Just a simple component. Ooh. Function, chat input, and we'll see later for the props it has. And we want to export it as a default. Okay. What we could have here is obviously, maybe not a view, just a text input. Because if you remember in app, we would put it here, so the view would actually, get all the styling. So we're going to import this from React Native. And here, all we're doing is just to return, a text input. What we could have is a message, and this message will be a state property. So the idea really is just here we'll have this text input, and we'll use it to add a message to, I always forget, to Zustand. It looks so aggressive, isn't it? So use state, this will be empty by default, and basically we just pass it here, and when we change the text, we want to update the state. And so when we'll be sending, the value, or message, then we should just call something from the store. So for now, I'll just keep it this way. I'll save, add it, hold on, to the app. So let's just import it. See, there's a lot of messages. Which IDE are you on? I'm on VS Code, and it's running inside GitHub Codespaces. So GitHub Codespaces, for those who were not there earlier, it's something that runs VS Code inside your browser. And maybe you've seen it before. It's actually really cool. You can run VS Code literally anywhere, and so it just GitHub running virtual machine somewhere, and then they add VS Code, and that's what you get. So this is actually it's a virtual machine running somewhere on GitHub, and that I use that just so I don't have to run my own Visual Studio and everything synced up in the cloud. That's really, really handy. If you have access, I think it's in beta at the moment. If you have access to it, you should definitely give it a try. So next message, you can also use it to keep a copy of an object across renders in function components. I kind of lose track of what I was talking about. Also use it to keep a copy. I'm really sorry, I forgot what this was about. If you could just remind me. Oh, thank you, yeah, for saying it's on Codespace. Smart things. Okay, good. Let's continue. So if I save now, we should see our chat input at the bottom. Oh, it's not defined. I really have a problem with importing components. I think when you use TypeScript, it automatically tells you when you forgot to import something. Kind of forgot about all this. Okay, so we don't have a chat input. Maybe it's because we don't set flex to be 1. That could be it. Okay, so we have this input here. So we'll just add some padding here again, padding 10, and instead of that terrible red, we'll just set it to, I don't know, let's go with this one. Oh, maybe it's going to be too heavy. So EEE is this light gray, DDD is something a bit darker, etc. So we actually should put a placeholder here because otherwise we just don't know. This is an input, right? Your message here. Or maybe just your message. Oh, you have no access yet? Willie, you can request that access. You just go on GitHub, code spaces, and I'm pretty sure you can request access to it. It's really fun to see people, especially you, create an app, even a dummy practice app like this, and see how people think and start out. Is it that different from what you usually do? Hey guys, is it possible to develop a React Native app for Android and then just run it on web with an additional step? What do you mean exactly? Because you can create a React Native project and then just add React Native Web as, how do you say, as a target. I was referring to UseRef, forgot to add context. What was the question again? I'm so lost in message really. Can also use it to keep a copy. Oh yeah, because someone asked about UseRef. Um, Honestly, I think UseRef in general, you just want to store something across re-renders. So previously, when you have a class component, you would have class attributes, and because then in render, nothing would, how to say, because it's a class property. If you say, this class has one property called, I don't know, name, and name equals to evening kid. Okay, even if your component re-renders, it's not going to change. But inside these kind of component, if you don't use ref, it will be regenerated every single time. So if you want to keep a value across all re-renders, so that could be an object, that could be an array, you want to use useref. And that's actually why we use for animations when you want to store an animated value, because if you don't have useref, then it will be recreated every single time, which is really something you want to avoid. Um, yeah, but usually you don't have to use useref. It's just when you want access to, components like this. This is what I used here. It's using a ref because, okay, maybe I shouldn't go into details. If you really don't know, I know the documentation is really well made, and maybe that's the best place to start. Okay, so we have our placeholder here. And what we want is whenever we send a message is to add a message to our store. So here we can create a new action. I think this is what we call an action, right? Maybe add message. And let me see how it works below. So basically, it looks very similar to reducers, doesn't it? So add message should take a message. So I guess this is how it works. And then we do set, and this function should return a new state. So that's what we have for Redux. So I guess here we could do return, and messages would be messages. Oh, sorry, state the messages. Um, it's very much like Redux, really. State messages, and then we'll add the message. So I guess what this should do, I haven't tried it before, but I guess this is how it works. Is just create an action. If you're familiar with Redux, this is just like an action. This is the parameter we'll have when we say add message from the message component. So we'll do add message and just pass, let me find it, this property, this variable. And what it does is just to set a new state. It's a state machine. And what we're doing here is a bit like this.set state, if you remember that part from React. If anyone here is still using class components, I think probably a lot of people. So you're just saying, this is the new messages property. Get all the messages. Oh, I've got an S. All the messages we had so far and add the one we passed here. So I'll save this, go back to input. And here we should import this new function. So let's just call it add message. I will need use store. If you remember, use store comes from here. It's interesting. And here you get the state. And because add message, our state again, it's this. So if we have state, we need to do state.addMessage. All right. And so now I think there's something on submit, or yeah, on submit editing. We can have a function here that just does add message, and we'll pass it message. So here when we update this input text, it will update our message. This is what we have here. And when we submit, we want to call this add message method from the store, which will just take all the messages and add the one we passed as a parameter. So that's all I should do. Also, because we're sending a message, we should also set our current message to be empty again. All right, let's see if that works. And if you remember also, if you remember inside the app component, whenever messages changes, so that's the case when we add a new message, we should scroll to the end of the scroll view. So let's see. Hello, YouTube. Send it, and it updates. It works really well. Okay, this is another test. I mean, as you can see, it scrolls automatically whenever I add something. That's pretty cool. Let's jump back to the comments. As long as the components are supported, it should be simple to move over. Yes, Simon is right about this. I don't think it's that complex. There's probably a lot of tutorials about this. What is most easy to use? Configure auth and database library system for like registration, login, and keeping the data of the user. Okay, about authentication. Well, I would say Firebase is probably the easiest way for you to add authentication. It really depends if you have other people helping you with all of this, or if it's just you on your own. But honestly, personally, when I just want to have authentication that works for everything, I just use Firebase because it has phone authentication, it has all the social media authentication, it has all the things you pretty much need. So personally, I like Firebase a lot. Otherwise, I'm sure there's a lot of competitors to Firebase, but what for? You could also make all your backend on your own. You just need to create an API, but that's a lot of work. You should do it just if you're sure with the project you're going with. If it's just something you're doing on your, on your free time, maybe just try Firebase. It's just very simple to set up. How you can make really responsive app in React Native for small devices, phones, tablets, and large desktop. Is there a package there? Yes, there is one. It's called Dripsy, but I don't know. I mean, I think that's the only one I know. I'm pretty sure there's probably something else for responsive design. Oh yes, size matters. Yes, exactly. That's one that is also very good. At some point, I really thought of creating my own library for this. Um, but anyways, can I use that on Expo? Yes, I think it's just a JavaScript package, so you should be good to go. All right, so we have our message here. I'm just thinking, do you have other ideas maybe of what we could do with this? Maybe we could add, a middleware. This one is interesting, but again, when I look at the code, it just looks kind of complex for what it does. Log every time state is changed. Let's just see this in the editor and just see how it looks like, because I don't know, maybe I'm just allergic to this library, but it looks kind of complex. We can remove this for now. Okay. So, to turn the send method into an aimer proxy, do we need this? Let's just remove any complexity. So I guess this is what we could have. Okay, so that's also something a bit different, right? The middleware is just a wrapper you have around what we had before. If you look at our code here, just create and then we pass it this function. So here it looks very similar, just that you need to wrap the whole thing with a function. So here what it does is takes a configuration. Okay, so I guess this is the configuration maybe. Set get API. What is that? I'm really confused about the API. Applying arguments. I don't know if you can find some. Um, that's documentation. Okay, I don't want to spend too much time on this. I feel like I'm not really understanding it. Auth0 as a nice service for authentication. That's true. Yeah, that's very true. Okay. Look, honestly, I think, I mean, let's say there's something else, but I don't really know how I feel about this. So I remember when I saw it, I thought, the README looks good. Maybe it's a great project. Um, I mean, even there's a lot of stars, etc. So you would think it's a nice project, but when I look at it, I just feel it's very similar to what we know. I don't really understand why it's so much better, especially when when I look at this. I mean, yes, it's simple, but Recoil is simple as well. Makes hooks the primary means of consuming state. Recoil does that really, really well as well. Doesn't wrap your app in context providers. Okay, I mean, that's just one line that you don't put inside your code. That's not so different. And this one was apparently interesting. But again, when we look at this, I mean, do you really want to write this? I mean, really? That's, I mean, to me, it just sounds like a lot of, boilerplate for state management. I just, for anyone who doesn't know about Recoil, I think we can have a look quickly. Um, I really like it very much because to me it's a bit like it's a bit like Redux, but with really big hook support. Like it really feels like state management for React, truly. Um, if you look at the code, so this is Recoil root is the provider, and then you create this kind of thing. So Atom, it works a bit like a state. You know what we had in was it chai input? Usually just do use state, and that's the default value, and then you have the current value of it, a function to update it. This works exactly the same. An atom is just a piece of data. It's a piece of state you're going to have. Key is just, how do you call it? Okay, that I wish that could be not necessary, but you have to define it. Default is the default value. This is exactly what we had before. And when you want to use it, you just need to call useRecord state and pass it the atom you created. So this means you can have your whole store file with all your atoms, and then you need to import it and just do useRecord state, and it's exactly the same API as what you have with this one here. That's why I really like Recoil. Then it's very readable, and you don't need to do state dot that thing that we had here. I mean, this to me, this is really not clean because if you need this same function for another component, then that means you need to, if you want things to be clean, you need to create a special hook for that. And in Recoil, you just do use Recoil state or use set, I forgot how it's called, but there's something else. Just get this function instead of getting the whole state. You can just get this part. And it's very clean. You don't need to redo to put this into separate files. That's why I like it. But this video, I mean, this live stream is about Zustand, so let's not talk too much. That's my 2 cents. I mean, again, I think it's nice, but I don't really see why it's better than Redux with Redux Toolkit. And if you really want something that looks very much like how React works with state and everything, I personally prefer Recoil. So if you haven't tried it, I'd highly recommend it to you. You can use React Native Windows plus macOS for desktop and iOS, Android for mobile and tablets. Yeah, actually, I don't know if you've seen it. There was a video on the channel about React Native Windows and what you can do with it. It's actually very similar what I did in that video to what I did today. Just a simple chat. Um, I think it's very interesting what they're doing. That's right. I'm lazy. Want to write just one code base. Exactly. Exactly. Also, the trend we see, in JavaScript, and it's been like this for a while. Everyone wants to recreate everything, right? And that's really what I like about, when you stick to something. Um, Redux is good, really. If you want something that works, Redux is already very good. Personal life Recoil, it looks more Reactish to me, but use whatever you want. I think that'll be everything for today. See you guys. I really love your content, bro. Should work now. Okay. Thanks for staying here and interacting with us. That's really nice of you. You should start doing some animation examples like William does. You're very good explaining things. Thank you. I appreciate it. I mean, animation, you can see that in my other videos. I was thinking, maybe this could be a bit different. Let's try something different. Use store. Oh, really? Anas, is it true? Let's see, actually. Let's see if that works. Oh, okay. I'll just remove that because we're not going to need it anyway. If that's true, Anas, that's really good. Let's see. Const add message. It's just that I didn't see it in the README file. Maybe I didn't look right. Okay, let's try this again. Try. Oh, it works. Oh, okay. Okay, so uStore returns the whole state, I believe, and then you get add message. But what I'm wondering about is, if you do this, isn't it bad? Because that means that, let's say, maybe messages changes, whenever messages changes, this will call a re-render again. You know what I mean? Like maybe this, by saying this is what we want, then if this doesn't change, then the whole component might not re-render. I wonder. Is React good for video like TikTok, for example? Um, you mean React Native? Yeah, why not? Maybe sometime you can make a video about how these state management libraries work in general, at least in theory. Yeah, yeah, that's true. And maybe I'll try something different. I want these live streams to be, just something different. So maybe that will be a good opportunity for me to make more React content. And Anis, I don't know why it's been deleted. It said deleted by the Google moderator team. I don't know why. I really don't know why. Okay, I see lots of people are going back to life. Let's just call it a day. Let's just call it a day. I had a lot of fun. Thanks for joining. And tell me, maybe if you want to see something particular next time, just let me know really right now in the comments. This could be, as someone mentioned, it could be animations, or it could be an app we're creating together. So that could be, I don't know, just the design of WhatsApp or TikTok, or I don't know, anything you can dream. We could do this in a live stream. Just let me know what you like to see, and I'm sure we can make it. I'll just wait a little bit so you have some time to write in the comments if you want, and we'll just call it a day after that. Thanks again for everyone joining. Really, did you get a notification, or how does that work? Is it because you joined on YouTube and you've seen the thumbnail? How did it work? WebRTC. Oh God, don't be mean. I mean, WebRTC. I don't know. Maybe something friendly and that most people might use. It's really cool. I really like to see the comments and all that. It's really, really nice to get this connection with you guys. It's very different from just making making videos. Great live stream, learn a lot. Oh, really? I hope so, Simon. I know I talked a lot. That's very true. Mm-mm. Okay, really, just wait a little more and we'll end the stream. Okay, look, if no one has nothing to add, yeah, we'll just stop there. Thanks a lot, everybody, for joining, and have a great day. I hope to see you on the channel. Never hesitate to drop a comment, really. That's just a good way for us to talk with each other. And until then, just enjoy life. Okay, have a good weekend.